Hey folks, good morning. Phillip Davis Ancestry lands captain's log, if you will. I'm going to get right to it, folks. It's Friday. I got the time for wasting right now. I'm going to ask you guys about punctuality. Punctuality in business, punctuality in your personal life. Can you make appointments on time? You know, in the world that we live in today, we have more awareness of times, dates, and everything else that goes on because we have so much technology at our access, within our access, within our reach, our grasp. You know, it's like when I get annoyed with my children when they ask me what date it is or what time it is, despite numerous clocks, calendars, cell phones, smartphones. And it's one of those days we have so much smart technology, we are the ones that are no longer smart. Yeah, go figure. You know, and now, again, this is not an AI attack channel, but again, I have to wonder with AI being the way it is, are we going to de-evolution of the human being, the human mind, the human progress? And the reason why I ask that is because we have the inability with all our tech to be punctual, to be on time, to anticipate delays. The decorum of the country in being on time, especially in business meetings, I swear this is peering into the business world, you know, a little bit. I've had numerous companies reach out to me for demonstrations, sponsorships, collaborations, and one of the stickler things that I'm just very like a pet peeve of mine is being on time for a meeting, especially when you want money from me. Look at this guy right here. Now, instead of getting over, look at this. Oh my gosh, just some people, man. I gotta speed up, but you see this is a merged lane. Any which way, I'm not gonna be bothered. I gotta give you all content right now. And folks, thank you for the ones bearing with me. We are working on the audio. Driving while having good audio is an art, along with some skills. So I'm making adjustments, and thank you to the people who can not let something like a few bumps. I would say this is your democratic states, your blue state here with the roads this way, but not to just put so much blame on them. When you're dealing with wintertime elements, during the cold, the asphalt contracts, gets tighter, and during the summertime, it expands. And when it does that, that's where you see all these cracks in the road. I mean, the roads are horrible, but it's not. It's simply just because of the material and what we call weathering. You know, you have water that penetrates into here. It breaks it down very quickly just because of the extreme colds and the extreme heats that we get seasonally. You know, and that does do something to it. It's the maintenance of the roads, which, you know, obviously is left to, you know, we probably could do a lot better on that as a country. So it's very hard to keep roads maintained. You know, requires a very, very concerted effort. And that might be different from your areas like in Florida, which the weather, you know, rarely dips below maybe a 40 degree would be really cold for Florida. But, you know, the warmer temperatures is mostly warm, so the mixture down there allows for it to expand and the contraction, so you may not see the roads be as degraded as they are here. And it's something that people in the Northeast in cold weather climates, you know, you do have to kind of live with, but yeah, it's horrible. So going back to what I was saying about, you know, wanting money from someone, or saying you want someone to look at your brand or business, that etiquette is something that it's not a lost art. It's not a changed form. It actually speaks volume to your business acumen, your business, excuse me, your business habits, your business practices. And again, it does reflect on your business on a whole. It will have some bearings on how people perceive and want to interact with you. Because you do things last minute, or you don't show up on time. You don't make it a point to be there on time. In nursing, generally, most experienced nurses understand and know to get to work about a half an hour early. That is to give them time to get settled, to get ready for their assignment, to look up any pertinent information for their patients. Even at my job, I get there about close to 30 minutes before the clinic needs to open up. That gives us time it gives me time to anticipate any travel delays, any potential accidents, maintenance on the car, anything like that. This lady's putting on a freaking makeup. Look at this. This is crazy. I don't understand. I mean, women, I get it, but like, yo, this is what I'm talking about. This lady right here is putting right on this car right onto the right of me. She's putting makeup on while driving. How do you do that? How is that even crazy? I mean, I'm looking at her. She's putting on makeup. I'm looking dead at her right now. She's literally looking at her visor. Woo, boy. I mean, how are you? Yeah, look at her now. She didn't stop because she looked at me looking at her. Like, how are you driving and putting makeup on? Your looks are that important that you can't focus on the freaking road, bruh. That's right. Drive up ahead. You schmuck. Ridiculous, man. Irresponsible. In a curve, whatever else. And you're going to lose your life and maybe the life of others because you need to make sure your mascara, your eye. I mean, why can't you get to work and just do that in the parking lot? But she's still back at it. Lock her up and throw away the key. Any which way. Going back to what I was saying about the punctuality, the business mindset. And again, you know, when you look at the people who show up late, who once upon a time when I was young, I did it too. Being on time was making sure I clocked in before the start of my shift. And again, you know, technically, will you get dock pay? No. But will that end up being promotions for you? Probably not. Because those habits identify people from the successes and the people who more than likely have this similar reflection in life of not being able to go anywhere, not progressing. And it speaks volumes to the fact, can you make the necessary sacrifice? Can you make the necessary internal habit changes? Can you make the necessary self-adjustments in order to get the outcomes that you're looking for in life? But the change starts with you. It begins and ends with you. If you're unhappy with where your life is, you need to look at some of the decisions that you have made to put your life where it is. But again, if we take no time for self-reflection, for thoughts and critical thinking, then again, we are just like my children who will go and ask me, what time is it or what date is it, when the calendar's only 4 feet away from them. I mean, even with smart technology, it's supposed to be accessible as a tool, not as a replacement for your mind. And maybe they coined it or put the NOMA of smart technology to make sure that for people who were not smart. You gotta wonder, boy, this is a beautiful drive to work, man. Look at all this. Sheesh. This is how I want to drive, man. This is a nice drive here. Great conversation too, folks. Don't forget, folks, my book is on Amazon, Getting Dollars from Dirt, A Beginner's Guide to Vacant Land Investing. Again, I challenge you to buy the book to increase your knowledge. Whoa, look at this guy. He is just... Okay, that's a cop there, no? Yep, that's a cop there. He's just speeding up. He's... I mean, or a fire department person, but like still, I mean, flying through like that, I mean, that's kind of crazy, man. Even for a emergency service provider. But again, my book is on Amazon, Getting Dollars from Dirt, A Beginner's Guide to Vacant Land Investing, folks. Buy a copy to gift to someone else. To say you gave them something of value. Something that can increase their knowledge base. I had a friend I talked to the other day. It was his birthday, and he said, hey man, I bought your book, but I haven't read it yet. And I said to him, hey, you bought the book. I get it. People are busy. And I said, you know, maybe one day one of your kids will pick up that book and read it. And maybe they will be inspired by the information they receive, where, again, maybe it wasn't meant for you. Maybe it just wasn't meant for you. Maybe it was meant for you to purchase, but another person to receive the information, to respond to it, to build upon that knowledge. Maybe that's the spark that was needed. But you got the book. You have it. You see it. And if you have the book, then that means your children see that it was something that you found worthy of purchasing. It speaks volumes again. So again, when you are punctual, when you are early, even in the show The Wire, when the young boy Michael was getting schooled by Chris and Snoop.
That's right. You don't ever want to be the last man to a party. You feel me? That's why I show up to a job an hour before. Sometimes two.
They talk to him about getting early. So even in the streets, getting early to case out a place. I'm not advocating robbery or any kind of thing like that. But again, when they had to deal with adversaries, the mindset of being early to scope out the place, to make sure that you assess your environment. I mean, in the streetway, if you look at that scene, they're telling that they're watching the people moving in. They were identifying who targets are. They're identifying habits. Who comes up, who shows up. Sometimes they'll go to a place and look at it days before they're ready to make their move. So it can't be invaluable if it has some merit, which we see later on in the show. They show Michael, the young upstart who is joining that realm of the hitters. They pull up to a place, they case it out. They look at who's coming in and who's out. They look at where the potential stashes are. Who makes the drop what to identify potential people, what their roles may be, what time of day certain actions happen, transfers and such. They're able to make a value judgment based upon them being there early. They didn't just walk in and decided, hey, today's the day I'm going to act. And I'm using this metaphorically in relation to how it should be in business and where people are lacking from. To be prepared. My father told me one time when I was very young, to be forewarned is to be forearmed. And to be forewarning, a forewarning, you're able to get alerted very quickly. Even in the animal world, this alarm system happens many times with baboons and other creatures like elk or Thompson's gazelles, things that when predators come, they use the baboons. They hunt in different places to give them safety in numbers, and also the baboons send off an alert if a jaguar or any kind of predator is around. Or a bird will chirp. These are symbiotic living. But again, that forewarning arms them to evade being preyed upon by the predator that is lurking, unseen or unseen, right? And that is a law in nature. So again, that punctuality, that earliness that you're able to get by being there gives you the power of being able to be there and be prepared. In the same way that the animal was, in the same way that Chris and Snoop were training young Michael, and to the point where it was his life now in danger. And later on in the show, where we saw Snoop was coming to him, and he got a little information that made him question things, which he said don't bring his Second Right Amendment tool to the party, to a job they were going to do. It alerted him. So what did he do? He prepared himself. He was forewarned by that warning. And then he cased out the girl Snoop in the same fashion that he was taught by Chris and Snoop earlier in the show. Even that Chris had told him, do not be the last person to the party. You had the saying, the early bird gets the worm. All these things were meant to teach you that to be punctual and to be there early was to be prepared. Later on, he cases out the place and sees that Snoop is looking to set him up. He knows and can identify the potential dangers and threats because of his preparation. In the same way that the person who does their homework and researches a company that they're looking to do business with, researches their body of work, they come prepared. One of the things that I know about when I do business with someone is that 9 times out of 10, they're sending me a demo video that I watched and they have never watched one video of Ancestry lands. But yet, they look to exchange dollars of mutual benefit. I mean, just tell me how that is. I mean, like, it's just, as a business, you want to collaborate, you want to sponsor, and yet, the first thing you ask a person is, did they watch the demonstration video that you sent them? You say yes, and they ask you, so tell me about your business. Which means that's already a key indicator to let me know that I'm working with someone who's never done their homework on me. Versus I talked to another gentleman down in the Maryland area, shout out to Mr. Abrams, Mr. Behind the Scenes, I'll just say just that. And the way he approached me was, hi, I watched one of your videos on an app called Fanbase, owned by Isaac Hayes III. Yes, that Isaac Hayes, his son. I'm verified up there. And he said, I watched your videos, one of your videos, and I wanted to connect you with a person. But he had done some upfront research about the person he was looking to engage with. Now I said, yeah, I would call him, and now I have to ascertain who it is that I'm talking to and what role he plays in the connection that he's trying to make with me. But I needed to gather some information before I could give much information, because I needed to know who I was talking to. And when you do that, you're able to tell people information that's relatable. And again, your wealth of knowledge now needs to come in, that is relatable to the role and position in which they approached you. You don't go talking to a doctor who's interested in learning about your health and you're going to tell them about your love of science, how you've watched many episodes of Star Trek or Star Wars or whatever else. It's something that's non-relatable. You might include things like sports to let them know that you're physically active, but you speak towards the direction of understanding your health, right? You don't tell him how many classes you have in school and your grades. You speak in a way about your health because you understand the person you're interacting with comes from the medical field in the setting you're in. He's looking to ascertain medical knowledge or medical information from you so he can make a more informed decision about how to treat your care, what to order for your health. And it's the same way when you're operating in business. You're there early to assess the environment. You go to a place early to look at the way the coworkers are working, the way they're interacting, how the office is set up. If a person has a family, do they have any pictures of their family? What information can you gain from the world around you that gives you a tactical advantage because you have enough time to observe the world around you that you're in, to pull in knowledge? You might even get some insider information through casual conversation. You might be able to identify who are real key players and maybe even talk to some people up front to make some connections to build rapport. Now again, this gives you the same tactical advantage as having the baboons, which alert the elk or deer or whatever it is, the Thompson's gazelles, that a predator is coming. And what does this do? This gives you that tactical advantage I talked about. This strengthens your position because you're able to gather micro data, small bits of information that end up helping you get a little bit more clues and be more knowledgeable in things that were once unknown to you. And you do this by showing up early, in the same way that in The Wire, Snoop and Chris, they both were there early. They were gathering information about their targets, who they were, what their moves were, whether a drop was coming, what exchanges, are there potential dangers, are there other opening doors that are unknown. So I'm trying to give it both ways so the street guys can get a hint too. You show up early, and also to let them know that you're here waiting on them. They're not waiting on you. It also gives you a sense of control, that you're not there to be when expected. You're already there unexpectedly. You know what that means? That they can expect you to be there before, but they don't know exactly when. Because when you're there at the time, they know you're going to be there at the time. When you're there before, they don't know if that's more or less. It keeps the power in your position. These are power dynamics we're talking about. But again, when you lack self-control, you end up with no control. Because you don't have preparation. You should have stopped a long time ago, buddy. Talking to the car over there because he sees it's gonna slow down. He's gonna try to do a maneuver here, and it's not gonna work with the car coming up behind him. So again, folks, I now am 7 minutes early, or 12 minutes early to my normal landing time, of which I come down to this area in the city of Philadelphia that we're at now. We're by Drexel University. And you can see at that time, going back to The Wire with Michael, that he was able to see that he was going to be betrayed. People are going, but it looks like they're making turns. Okay, it looks like he might be going to the right. I'm going to go here. Excellent. And when Michael was able to assess he was going to be betrayed, what did he do? He prepped. Said, don't bring the hammer. He brought the hammer. And the life he saved was his own, because he had to take down his opponent who was going to take down him. Now, that might be a little bit too draconian or too drastic or harsh of an example, but still, if it goes down to the bottom level of the street thug, and it exists as a law in nature, then why are you not preparing yourself in the same way? In this world we live in, we are all still acting on human nature. People like me observe those who come in late, those who are not prepared, those who are not ready, and you can definitely make value judgments on people like that with their habits. You can assess whether you need to interact with people like this on a personal level, because you can see that these breakdowns are happening in their life, that they are not prepared in life. This can also help you to prevent bad mating strategies with people who you should not mate with, have children with, because again, that lack of preparation will flow over into your life. If you can control your physical urges and keep your mind awake while your body is getting all the blood flowing away from your brain, if you know what I mean. If you can do that, then you can weed out people who will be the undesirables, because their habits are shown there. This helps you in the dating market because you're able to vet people very well. I'm going to end it there, folks, and give you something to think about. Don't forget my book is on Amazon, Getting Dollars from Dirt, A Beginner's Guide to Vacant Land Investing by yours truly. A book of knowledge, a short book of knowledge, to give you information to have conversations that you should have with people. I am your host, Phillip Davis. I hope you've been educated, enlightened, and least of all, entertained. You all have a great weekend, and I'll see you in the next video. I'm out.
Are you confused with today's real estate market? With high interest rates and overpriced housing, it can be hard to find something to own at the right price. Available on Amazon, Getting Dollars from Dirt by author Phillip Davis is a game-changing book that invites you to embark on a thrilling exploration of this often overlooked asset class. This book is your roadmap to unlocking the secrets of vacant land investment. Inside these pages, you will uncover the transformative power of vacant land as a wealth-building tool. Discover how to spot promising properties, assess their true value, and capitalize on market trends. From understanding zoning and permits to leveraging financing strategies, you'll gain the knowledge and confidence to make savvy investment decisions. With each page you turn, you'll gain a deeper understanding of the profound impact your investments can have on the world around you. Getting Dollars from Dirt is not just a guidebook, it's a call to action. Whether you're a seasoned investor or a curious novice, this book will empower you to tap into the immense potential of vacant land and embark on a journey toward financial freedom and a brighter future.